Hi, guys. Hello, hello. All right, so earlier today when I was doing the Cancerian video, I had a special request from someone who wanted me to do a part 4 on the storytelling that had 3 parts to it already. Now, I've never actually like carried over a single storyline for like multiple days before, and I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. If I get special requests like that and I can honor it, I will always try. So I know you probably won't remember. I had to go back and rewatch what at least part 3 was so I could be refreshed on our characters. And so if you didn't see part 1, part 2, or part 3, in the description box, you will find a link for part 1 and I think part 3. Sorry, part 2 is not in there, but if you watch part 1, it'll take you to part 2. Part 2 will take you to part 3. But in any case, I'm going to do a quick little recap here for my benefit as much as anybody else's. Hi, everybody. Great to see you. Hi, Denisa. Contented Tiger. So nice to see you, sweetie. So what happened in part 1, 2, and 3 is this. We had a duo, and I refer to them as the divine masculine and feminine, although as always, they don't have to be any specific gender. But they were individuals that took 4 times to meet each other before finally getting to the point of like, oh my God, this is something special. This is my person. And it's a 2 of cups relationship ultimately, but they basically like were in the same place at the same time when they first met each other and didn't notice each other, even though Providence had brought them to the same general area. And I think I suggested it could have been like a music concert or something. And they didn't even know that standing right beside them, listening to the same heartbreaking song could have been their 2 of cups. And so they interact and pass each other by. And then the next time they bump into each other, it's a moment where it could have just, I think my scenario was like, I don't know, they bump into each other at a hardware store or something. And it's a very curt, very simple little interaction, not much of anything. And then the next time they actually start to kind of think about each other after that meeting, and they're kind of hoping to meet the next time around. And there's a little bit of cold feet and nervousness, like, I don't know. Sure enough, they do meet again. This time they connect. This time there's an opportunity to go to a social setting, and they're nervous about doing that, but they do. And finally, by the end of that social meeting, that 4th time that they've interacted, that's when we ended part 3 with them hopping into a motorcycle and a sidecar with the 6 of Swords card. And it said, okay, these 2 hearts who have been broken and wounded, who have slowly recovered, who have not noticed love maybe the first time it was around them when they interacted, but slowly but gradually, these repeated, like touching their toe in the water, getting more familiar, has finally had them have the breakthrough that they realize, you know what, I really like you and I'm not scared to try this. So that's where we ended part 3. And so part 4, it is a good idea that we're doing a part 4. San Juanita, hi, sweetheart. And thank you again. I was trying to thank you for that donation you made me earlier today, and I couldn't find your comment again, but thank you so much. Oh, congratulations. Oh, I bet it's adorable. I love a pixie bob. San Juanita, I bet you look fabulous. 22 inches of your hair cut off. That's got to feel so light. How awesome. All right, so let's jump into what happens after this duo hops on that motorcycle and sidecar and rides off into the sunset. And it was kind of like they're going to escape heartbreak and be together. That's how we left our duo. Well, obviously, we just got a 10 of cups, and we have synchronicity, which that entire storyline was about the synchronicity of 2 hearts who keep encountering each other without recognizing this is my 2 of cups. I'd never had a 2 of cups storyline like that. Usually we get a 2 of cups where it's like people meet, one of them is really invested, the other one isn't, and it takes a long time for both characters to get on the same page. But this was a unique story in the sense that we had 2 characters that met, didn't recognize each other, were still busily healing from heartbreak. And every step of the way, as they gradually moved toward each other, they were always in sync, in tempo, in harmony with each other, of letting go of hurt and slowly building trust and recognizing I'm interested in this person. So the fact that we continue on with more synchronicities, I have a feeling this, for this duo, they're not just riding away on their motorcycle and sidecar into calmer waters. I think that their life together begins with very much the honeymoon phase. We jump right into all the good stuff. I think this duo is going to discover that they have a lot more similarities. Maybe they almost immediately start to realize that they fit in each other's lives better than they could have imagined. It's like, oh, well, you know, I don't know, I like skeet shooting or something. And the other's like, you've got to be kidding, my whole family. Like we're the national champions. My brother, my sister, my sister-in-law, like all of us are champion skeet shooters. You're going to fit in so great. By the way, I have no idea. I don't even really know what skeet shooting is. I don't know why that came to my mind. My point is, this is like the entire environment, the entire group, as they start to interact with one another's friends and families, I think they're going to discover that they click with not just one another. They could find that they have been running in parallel circles, or that they have mutual friends and somehow they'd never met. The synchronicity here suggests to me that this brand new couple is going to find a lot of positive reinforcements with why they work. Either their family will click, their friends will click, or it'll turn out that someone has been friends with their cousin for 25 years. And it's like, how did I never meet you? They could have even heard stories about one another and yet never put two and two together to realize who it was about. Like, what do you mean? Wait, you were the cousin who did such and such? I've known your uncle for so many years. He always talked about his nephew. I didn't know that was you. This feels like it's going to be one crazy, amazing thing after another. With the Hermit's card, you notice that I think both of them are going to recognize, oh my God, it's like every step I took in my life was somehow leading me right to the top of the staircase to find you. I feel like these two are going to be really stunned to discover how so many things have been orchestrated perfectly. They were on Hermit's journey. Like, they're going to realize deep in their heart space, it's like they had a little homing beacon that they had been following to find one another. One thing I want to mention is that with the orcas, orcas are a matriarchal lineage species, and so there can be like 5 like lineages of the females in a particular pod, and they have their own alphabet that they communicate with, and then sometimes a multitude of different pods of family, maternal lineages will like group together and swim together. And although they'll have like a common dialect, they all still retain their own specific different sounds that are like their own alphabet. And I don't know why. I think that that's really important for this, because I feel like that's one more component. Maybe they're going to know each other through a maternal lineage, or maybe it's not that they're related, but that, somebody, oh, my grandma was best friends with your grandma because they lived next door for 25 years. They were little girls when they were friends. And so they have like insider jokes, and maybe both of these characters have the same, sometimes we come up with like nicknames and stuff. In my family, it's like Tobies and Neebies instead of knees and toes, and it's like, wait, what did you just call them? Why do you call them Neebies? That's what my family calls them. It's like, oh, because I get my Nana. Well, wait, who was your Nana friends with? That's my Nana. Our Nanas were friends. It feels like there could be some interesting specific like language or something that they share that is, again, going to be a synchronicity, and it's going to click and be like, I can't believe this. It's like I was always meant to meet you. 4 of Wands. Oh my God. Seriously, this story keeps getting more, it's like being so beautifully unveiled to them and to us, which is really, really fun to see this. This always makes me think of the color run. It's like I'm sorry, I'm sure that that's not the proper name, but I believe this is an East Indian festival that celebrates springtime. I've attended one of those festivals in the United States, just as like a cultural event. And, they throw the colorful like powders as you run through, and you wind up super vibrant looking at the end of it. It's really cool. But I wonder if there could be a multicultural influence here. I was first thinking maybe like a Native American or some indigenous population, that are known for being excellent orca hunters also. But now we also have East Indian as well just showing up. So I just wanted to kind of make note of that as well. There could be different cultural aspects. I don't know why I'm getting somebody's family to like run a restaurant that the other person used to eat at all the time and they had no idea. This is my card of like following the instinct or the pheromones. This is like, I've been able to smell you on the wind for such a long time. I didn't know how to get to you because I had a karmic that blocked me. So the divine masculine in this connection, it almost feels like, and this is not to say anything sad, but it almost feels like they ended up with a karmic. And by the way, the divine masculine was the King of Wands in, I think that was revealed to us in like part 2, I want to say, maybe at the end of part 1. But they were a very sexy silver fox, King of Wands. You notice that they had a Queen of Wands here in the reverse, which is a karmic partner. I'm wondering if what they're realizing as this divine masculine and feminine starts to build a relationship, a romance together in part 4, and they start to find out all these crazy synchronicities where their lives should have met time and again. I wonder if the divine masculine is going to be like, what I can't get over is that you and I should have met and would have met if only my karmic hadn't stepped in the way. Like, it could have been that they missed each other. Maybe they were at the same house party when they were teens or something. And instead of him, going over to dance with her, he ended up with this karmic who stepped in the way. And he thought that that was where the beautiful perfume was coming from. And so he picks the wrong partner. He got with a karmic, even though he was looking for our divine feminine all along. And it's just now clicking like, oh my God, it could even be, this could have a little juicier twist to it. And it could be one of those things where maybe their previous karmic intentionally stepped in the way and got them off track. There's something here. It could even be that maybe our divine feminine knows who this masculine's karmic ex was. Maybe it was an intentional, like, I'm going to one up you. I'm going to pretend to be everything that you want when I know darn well that I'm not, because I already know you'd be a better match with this divine feminine, but I'm going to take her place. There's something on this that I don't like. They were seeking someone true and someone real, but instead they bumped into this blockage, and that was their karmic. And man, the fact that karmic was even a Queen of Wands, that says a lot, because they were a King of Wands that was seeking the right partner, and instead they got hurt by the wrong person. But I think that wrong person got in the way on purpose. Tell me about the wrong person there for just a minute. This was all in the past, so it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, Temperance and the Awakening, which in any other deck is the card of Judgment, so it can be a card of reconciliation. It feels like they could have been with their divine feminine much longer or previously, had they not somehow reconciled with a karmic who pretended to be really sweet. The thing is, maybe they had to go through the ordeal with a karmic one more time to finally be done. So I'm just going to say there's no point in looking back and saying, God, why did that have to happen? This masculine could have already been with their divine feminine. They were always on this path. They were always supposed to meet. Every step was leading them toward one another. It could even be that they start to confess some things like, I always dreamed that the person I'd end up with, I could never see their face, but I dreamt of somebody who smelled just like you do. Like, maybe our divine feminine is going to be wearing a perfume, and they're like, I always thought that my person would have, smell like jasmine or something. And then I met this karmic, and because she smelled like jasmine, I thought that must be my person. But now you smell like jasmine, and I realize it was you that I should have been finding instead. There's something here about the pheromones, something here about the scent that led them technically to the wrong person. But sometimes being with the wrong person is the best way to recognize what the right person will really be like. So I don't think it's any kind of a sorrow. I think if anything, they're both recognizing why they were with the wrong people or why they spent a great deal of time alone, how they became more determined than ever that they're not going to put up with the wrong connections anymore in their life. That I think is really important. But man, is this ever the right connection for these two? This feels like there's so much serendipity, and it's like every morning or every day they're going to wake up. Maybe they both like to go to the same place. Maybe there's a piece of like statuary in some either a park that has a body of water, or they like to both get up at sunrise. There's a specific, like, I don't want to say a ritual, but I think this character, this masculine and feminine, have so many little details in common, right down to their favorite spot to watch the sun come up over water or right by a particular piece of statue. To me, it's not the winged victory of Samothraki, but it reminds me of that. It's a really famous and beautiful sculpture. It's currently housed in the Louvre, but it was originally from the Greek island of Samothraki. And the world's best replica of it is actually outside of the Colosseum in Las Vegas. So you can look that up, but it's a beautiful. I'm just stating that because that we have 3 locations associated with this story now because of this. So we have Greece, specifically Samothraki, we have Las Vegas, and we have Paris and the Louvre. So I don't know if that's going to be important to these characters. Also, a synchronicity of maybe they've been there, maybe they've seen that statue. It doesn't have to be that statue, but there could be a statue somewhere that they both really like, and they've both been there. So how is it that I didn't meet you? You know, this 4 of Swords is in the reverse, and we have the Inspiration of Swords upright. I think these two are going to be like totally mind blown. 4 of Swords can be, if it had been upright, I would have said it can be a time of like silence and healing. I think these two are going to become chatterboxes. I think the more they learn about each other, it's like this fantastic, like, like treasure chest that everything they find out about how they knew each other without knowing each other's names, that they've been to some of the same places, that they've eaten at the same restaurants, that their family members or their matriarchal lineage has some unique connection. By the way, Hawaii also, the rainbow always makes me think of Hawaii. We also possibly have, cultural festivals. We have all kinds of like kind of a spiritual component coming up across multiple times. All of these teeny details as they both compare notes on what their lives have been, where they've been, who their family members are, who their friends are. They're going to find so many things in common. And once again, if you can look, we have all this sacred geometry in the sky here. It makes me think that they're going to recognize that this is a very divine connection, almost like, that saying, there's no such thing as coincidences. There's no such thing that things just randomly happen. Instead, this has been like their souls have known the pathway to find each other. One of them could be a lawyer. Obviously, we have lawyer, keeper of justice, law, cases, defense, advisor. One of the 2 of them could work in an industry like that. Somebody could have a strong Libra energy in their chart as well. Let me take a look at who the other character may be. I don't know why it's going to sound crazy specific, but I feel like somebody works for a lawyer but isn't a lawyer. We have homeless and we have drunkard. Wow. This could have something to do with, I know, again, this is highly specific, but one of them could have had a really difficult home life, and that could be why they ended up either becoming a lawyer or working, with the judicial system. They could have had a parent that really struggled, and so their own childhood had plenty of difficulties. That oftentimes makes people really compassionate and makes them very focused on, like, equality and justice, and trying to be kind, and trying to also find, ways to maybe help people find their way back to a healthier path. It feels like balance and fairness, because of some significant struggles, are a really huge motivation for a character. So I'm wondering if they had one of the two of them had a really difficult background or childhood. This could be our divine masculine, does not have to be. And the other one could be a chef. It's interesting because the culinary maestro, cooking, culinary artistry, seasoning proficiency. I already said maybe their families know each other through restaurant world. This feels like one of them comes from a lineage of, like I said, restaurant owners or something. Oh, mother. And our divine feminine could actually be a single parent. She could already have had a child. Selfless love, nurturer, source of life, maternal patience, and comforter. And we had a strong maternal lineage anyway. This could also be that our character wants to be a mother or grandmother, or they could be known like a nickname or something that means like, little mama or mamacita, or I don't know. There's something here about uh, that very like what I want to say is, if one character, possibly our divine masculine, came from a bit of a rough home or a broken home, and they have really, out of chaos, they really decided to strive to create balance and direction in their life, they could particularly love the nurturing, the feeding, the softness, the everything that the divine feminine may represent to them. Again, it doesn't matter if they're masculine or feminine. This could be a same-sex couple. I should mention that also could be perhaps, so we have the rainbow, that can oftentimes be LGBTQ community. So that could be as well. I never read for genders. It's irrelevant to me. I only care how characters present, so I can kind of describe their attributes, but the gender is not important. It's more like the essence of who our character presents as, that I try to get to the heart of. This we have definitely described some very powerful and complementary energy, but I feel as if perhaps our divine masculine has a particular affinity for our divine feminine, because she represents the nurturing, she represents the giving, the loving energy. And yes, she may be a really great cook, a really great chef, comes from a lineage of great chefs. It's funny, her father could have been a restaurant owner, but she herself is has her own unique skills, I think, when it comes to food. It's interesting how those messages all come full circle in this. All right, so let me just get a final message on this. I've never done a carryover of a story like this before, where we picked it up the next day. So it's kind of fun to reacquaint and watch these characters, go through the next layers of their life together. We've got a 9 of Wands in the reverse, and we got the 7 of Wands upright. So this is like letting go of struggles. This is how we get through struggles. This is the wounded warrior that's not so wounded anymore. These two will face some kind of obstacle. It could be where they're going to live. I think one or the other lives across the other side of the river, and one might want to stay living near a park, and the other one is like, yeah, but it's such a long drive. Why don't we figure this out? I don't feel like it's going to be any time at all before these two are cohabitating, but I feel like they are trying to sort out. And here's the King of Wands. You know what? I feel like the King of Wands is, even if they have normally a very strong opinion about like, I'll lead the way, they're going to be like, babe, I don't care as long as we're together. You want to live, which side of the river do you want to live on? I will live on Mars with you. I don't care. I'm negotiable on where we live. So it's interesting, because I don't know that this King of Wands ever thought that they would alter their pattern of life. It's interesting how consistent he's shown up as a King of Wands throughout this story too. We have Knight of Pentacles. I'll pack up my stuff and I'll move in with you. and then we'll sell my place however long it takes to sell it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We got the Five of Cups. We got the Lovers. Is there a little tiny twinge of worry? Like, I'm willing to do it. This King of Wands is the one making more concessions, even though they would never normally move this fast, and they are a little bit worried. But what I think they've decided is, if I don't open up my heart to her, when I feel this much with her, and there's been so many synchronicities, even if it's a little bit like, okay, I'm willing to sell everything I've got and move to her side of the river, because I do think they're moving in her side of town for some reason, because he looks like the one willing to concede. And maybe it makes sense, but it's also a little scary to think of like surrendering all that you've built just so you can go and now invest fully. I mean, this is them saying, babe, I'm in this. I'm 100% in, because I'm selling my house. I'm coming to live in yours. I'm uprooting. And there is a little bit of worry, but I think their bigger worry is, if I don't show her that I'm all in, if I don't open my heart completely to her, because she expects full access, I don't want to lose her. She's the one I'm picking, and she's picking me. This is huge for these two to trust each other to this extent. But I think that's why the universe was like, let's make sure that they have a ton of synchronicities. Let's make sure that they find out so many beautiful things about each other that will help them feel secure enough. Because these are still two hearts that are, they have admittedly been a little bit gun shy about the, romance, and about finding their way toward one another again, but now they're doing it. And the fact that they are not trying to hold back, there's no silence. It said it's a lot of communication, and it's a lot of revelations about just how well they fit together, and just how their paths could have and should have crossed a long time ago. And now at last they have. And so let's make up for lost time. That's what this feels like to me. All right, I'm going to leave this one here. You guys, thank you so much for being here. Wet Lobo 818, you angel, thank you, sweetie. Sprinkle some salt and pepper. Hit the like button. You're so sweet. Thank you, honey. You guys are so kind. Gigi Alexandra, hola, ¿cómo estás? Hi, Carol. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. San Juanita, you said you grew up where they would throw a pair of shoes on the wires. Oh, I've seen that. I've seen that before, actually, in a couple of different neighborhoods that I've lived in. Yeah, I never knew what it meant, but I have seen that. What Lobo 818? You said, I know some Indians from Chiapas, Mexico, who communicate by whistling since they live in the mountains. Oh, that's beautiful. There's a whole like village that whistles in somewhere in Greece also, and they're I love when people are really proficient at whistling, but it sounds like bird calls. I can't do any of that, and I so wish that I could. Yes, Gigi Alexander, we had to go to part 4. I promised somebody that I would when they requested it, and I was like, why not? Let's go for it. Hi, Catherine Gordon. Thank you for popping in. Thanks again, Denisa and Contented Tiger. Really nice to see you guys. All right, everybody. Take care. Have a lovely evening. I will see you guys again soon. Oh, Contented Tiger, I see you actually had a dream about him when you were in the thick of a toxic situation. He wasn't even on my radar, but we move in the same circles. Oh, that's really cool. Share a clan name, and there are so many synchronicities. That's awesome. Tammy Andrews, good to see you, honey. All right, you guys. Sweet dreams, everybody. Bye for now.